Welcome to Podpackers, the podcast where we share stories from travelers who are changing their lives and the world through meaningful travel. Today we have Gladys, a full-time slow traveler from the Philippines and the creator of Happiness on the Way, a soulful travel blog about exploring the world intentionally and meaningfully, even with what she calls a weak passport. Gladys, it is so good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here as well. Nice to meet you, Carissa.
Yes, very nice to meet you as well. So I want to start with your journey. You were born and raised in the Philippines, and you used to work in finance before you were a full-time traveler. What led you to make that shift?
So I actually went to finance because I was on a scholarship and they have like architecture, business, engineering, education as a course. So and I already knew that I want to travel the world and I just thought like finance is where you will make the most money so I could finance like my traveling. So that kind of like what led me to like going to finance. And then when I was in finance, I just realized, yeah, you make a lot of money, but you don't have the time. So it's just
Mm.
like, okay, then what's the point with having all of this money if I'm basically on my desk? So that actually like shifted me to like maybe there's another way, or maybe that I don't need to be in the finance world. So that actually did the shift.
That makes a lot of sense. So you named your blog Happiness on the Way. Is there a story behind that name?
Yeah. I don't know which particular thing led it to me, but I remember I was in Sri Lanka and I was on the bus, and then I was like looking at this outside the window, kids and like locals, and they were just like happy. And at some point, I forgot where I'm going. I mean, I forgot that I'm on the bus going to somewhere, and it made me realize that, oh my gosh, that was the point of traveling, to like feel this internal bliss, like feel be present in the moment. Like it's not even about arriving to your destination, it's actually how much present you are in that moment, may it be in a
Mm.
bus, may it be on an airplane, or even like just arriving at the hostel or at the hotel. Like how present are you more than like you arriving at that place.
That makes a lot of sense. Hence, happiness on the way, right? Not happiness when you
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
um, how would you describe what intentional travel really means to you?
I think it's very important nowadays because we see a lot of things from Instagram, from social media, of like 10 things to do in this, or like 5 things you shouldn't miss here, or like 30 things you should do before you die. And while those are important, I feel like we lost connection of what is the most meaningful travel for you. So for me, intentional travel means like what do you really need at this specific moment, and how can travel give you that? So for some people it might mean rest, for some people it might mean adventure, for some people it might mean just staying in one place, for some people it might be reconnecting to their passions, and then finding that in travel, maybe in nature, maybe and community. So I think intentional travel means just taking a pause and asking yourself, what are you trying to get out of this travel? And from
Mm.
that, create your itinerary from that, rather than following itineraries from other people just because they are trending.
I think that makes a lot of sense. That's really good advice. And so I kind of want to talk about now is how did you first come across Worldpackers and what made you want to volunteer instead of just going on vacation?
Okay, so I quit my job in 2024. So that was, yeah, I quit my job last year. And then I have some
Congrats.
savings because I came thank you, because I came from finance. But then I was like thinking, uh, oh my gosh, I was at the airport just when I quit my job, and I there was this. It's so funny. There was this wheel of fortune at the airport where you will just turn the wheel, and then the grand prize was a ticket to LA. And then I won it. Like I won
No
the ticket.
way.
I don't
What?
even
That's
know.
crazy.
I don't even know that this round trip ticket exists. So
Wow.
it wasn't even announced on their social media. It was just there at the airport. So I won a ticket in LA and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a sign from the universe. I just quit my job and then I have a round trip ticket to LA. But then it's LA. It's the US. It's expensive. I think you said you're from the US and I knew that it's gonna be
I
expensive.
am. I'm
And
from near
I
New
just
York
quit.
and Boston, and it's so expensive.
Okay. So like the top tier
Yeah.
expensive places to come to. And then I was like, mm, okay, so now I have this round trip ticket. I'm going to probably one of the most expensive places you can go after quitting your job. But I said I want to like travel long term there. So then I look for ways like how do I budget, and then I came across this thing called volunteering and work exchange. And then I was like, oh my gosh, the most expensive part of US travel is the accommodation. So like this makes a lot of sense. So I just started like looking for things, and then coming back to the intentional travel, making sure as well that I like to do the jobs and work out there.
Mm,
So then I just ended up doing it. I think to start, I really just need it for the accommodation. But I think just my first Worldpackers, it massively shift. It's like, oh my gosh, I find someone who understood me. They also quit their job. They are also like hikers. They also understand
yeah.
slow travel. So it just came from free accommodation, I would say, and it slowly like went more meaningfully.
That makes a lot of sense. I think like even though the type of people who do Worldpackers is so diverse, I mean, for context for our listeners, I also was a volunteer. But I feel like generally you get the same type of like people who quit their jobs, gap year students, young people trying to travel, like groups of friends. And it's kind of nice to know that like even though everyone's from such different places, you all have like a similar goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And could you tell us a little bit about some other volunteer experiences that you did? What was maybe your favorite or the most meaningful?
It's so hard because I think I like a bunch of them actually. Okay, maybe so I think one of the ones I really like. I think there were two. So the first one was I volunteered in Colorado. It was in a hostel, and then from there I met a bunch of travelers, and I actually met a lot from the US and from Europe and everything. And then I just learned about gap year. So I think for the
Mhm.
context also of our listeners in Asia, there's no such thing as a gap year. Like there's there's no gap man. I was just talking to this German girl the other day, and she said that she's on a gap year, and when she come back to the university, she will just take on as if it's a normal year, and their university even encouraged to like take a gap year. In the Philippines, so for a context, my brother had a break from school. He needed to repeat 50% of the units and subjects because the
No
curriculum
way.
already changed,
That's
and he
crazy.
just
I
took a
mean,
break for half a
wow.
year.
That's crazy. Gap years aren't very popular in the US either. I think it's mostly a European thing. Like I know a lot of Europeans have like a it's like after high school or after university you go, but it's becoming more popular in the US, but you're right, less so in Asia. I mean, my family's from China and like if I said I was going on a gap year, I think everyone would be like, "Why? Like is there a problem with school?"
Yeah, yeah, you were right with that. Like in Europe, it's encouraged because they give them time to think. Oh, what do you really want to do after school? In
Yeah.
Asia, if you had a break, it just means there's something wrong with you.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
you're lazy or something wrong with you. Yeah. Anyway,
That's so
coming back,
awesome that
that
you met
was
people
one of
there.
my
Go ahead.
yeah yeah. So from the that was my favorite because it opened my eyes. It opened my eyes like, oh, this person is like doing a hiking thing. Okay, this person is like doing paintings because she's volunteering as a mural painter, and then now she's trying to find a way to pursue her passion by just doing volunteering. So I think it's one of my favorite because it opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities that are not really available to us, especially like from the east, especially from Asia. These are not well known or not even like that popular. So that's one is my favorite. Plus, I hike a lot and surrounded by nature in Colorado. So that one's very nice. The second one was more of community experience and cultural. I lived with a Bedouin in a Bedouin camp in Jordan. So that one is also like culturally very like because they are the real nomads. They are the one like getting their
Yeah.
tents. I walk a camel into the desert. So this also
Wow.
made me realize, oh my gosh, they are the original nomads. Like how do you really like pack all your goats and like all your camels to the next destination?
Wow, that's awesome. I've done some snooping on the Worldpackers volunteering website, which all of our listeners should do because it's like shopping, but for your next trip. It's very addicting.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
I think I've saved like the exact experience that you're talking about because it's like oh, help in our Bedouin camp in Jordan, and I was like yes, and there's camels in the photo. What would you say to a listener who dreams of traveling but feels like it's impossible?
I would say if you see it as a limitation, it will forever be limitation. Like
Mhm.
like I remember one time because my boyfriend is German. Sometimes he just goes like literally walk and no one is like looking at him or anything. With me, they have to ask and then check like your return ticket or like sometimes they even want me to like open my bank account or something. Um, but then there was one point in Laos where Philippines has a treaty with Laos, so I didn't have to process anything, and he had to process it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a big win! For a change, I have a stronger passport." I think that's one of the moments where I feel I just accepted that okay, this is a limitation. This is just it. If you really want to travel, I call this principle like for me, travel is my guilty pleasure, for a lack of a better term. Then it means for me that I'm not gonna buy bags or I'm not gonna buy shoes because I really want to spend on travel. So like maybe you can be more conscious on what you are putting your money to so that you have a, a bigger pot. You know, if you spend, I hate to say this because oh, people always saying you spend a lot of money in Starbucks. But if Starbucks gives you happiness, come on, give yourself a Starbucks or a coffee. But like maybe there are other things that are not really giving you joy. Maybe shoes or maybe like clothing. Maybe you can put them on your jar of travel fund. Then you have a bigger leeway on what to spend.
Hmm. I think that's really good advice, actually. I mean, I saw this one post that was like, if you, I mean, not to hate on like Starbucks or coffee, but like, if you buy one coffee every day, that's say like $5 per day, then I don't know, let's say you do that like 5 times a week, then by the end of the month, then you'll have 5 times 4, so like $100. And then by the end of the year, that's like $1,200, which is totally the cost of a plane ticket.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just more like being, I would say, accept and then act on. Like act on your situation, especially the unchangeable things. I mean, otherwise you will be complaining for the rest of your life, and you're 60 years old and you're still complain about your passport or your weak currency.
I think my favorite thing that you said is that there's a deadline to complaining, and everyone just needs to hear it.
Yeah.
I think that's really amazing. So, before we wrap up really quickly, what is one message that you would like to leave for anybody listening who's dreaming of taking their first step into the world?
um, you literally only have this life. Like literally, this is the only life you have. I don't know about reincarnation or like whatever you believe, but at least generally you only have this life. And instead of putting everything on the sidelines waiting for something, like think every single day that this is just really the life you're gonna have, and how will you spend the most out of it, how will you make the most out of it, if that's volunteering, if that's trying something else, if that's quitting a job, having another job, or following your passions, going out of a relationship, going into a relationship, whatever that is, this is your one life. How you should ask yourself every single day, or as much as you can, ask yourself like, gosh, this is just my one life.
That's really beautiful, Gladys. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today. You can follow her journey on Instagram and her blog, Happiness on the Way. I checked it out myself before this interview, and it's pretty good. And if you want to
Thank
start your
you.
own meaningful, yeah, of course, of course. If you want to start your own meaningful travel experiences, you can go to worldpackers.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and don't forget to follow and share this episode with a fellow traveler or dreamer.